Welcome back to the channel. My name is Blakemore and I'm a primary school teacher in Dubai. This video is going to explore the most popular areas to live in Dubai. This is an article that is published yearly and it shares a range of different popular areas to live, both for singles and couples, but also families too. This video is going to mainly explore the best areas for singles and couples, but we will touch a little bit on those different areas for families too. The most popular area is apparently the Palm. This one surprised me. I didn't think it would be so popular with residents. One of the most popular areas to live is what they call the Golden Mile. That is because it's easier to get on and off the Palm. So straight away, one of the cons of living on the Palm is the fact that if you live on some of the further fronds, which are the kind of bits that stretch out from the Palm, it can be quite challenging to come off from there. If you live on the furthest front away, right in the corner, you have to come all the way around and back out. Now, there's lots of different pros of living on the Palm. Of course, there are plenty of different things for you to do. You've got the Point, you've got Key West Beach. Those are some really popular beaches / public areas which you can go to. They've recently created a new mall that's called Nakheel Mall, and that is a real popular area. The monorail goes straight through the Palm and stops off at Nakheel Mall, where there are different supermarkets, a range of different retail outlets, and of course restaurants. Talking about restaurants, because the Palm is so popular with tourists, there's lots of different hotels. Because there's many different hotels, there are of course lots of different food and beverage outlets, such as restaurants. Some of the most popular ones, and of course expensive, are in the Atlantis, but because they are really popular, it is a fantastic area to go to too. You do have the water park, of course, that is at the Atlantis, but as a general point of view, you're probably going to want to stay in the central area of the Palm simply because of traffic. There are some other cons, of course, because it's a popular area. It is expensive. Very expensive when compared to some of the other places that are on this list. The next most popular area is downtown. Now, this is somewhere that I can talk about because I've lived there. Now, I had a brilliant experience of living in downtown. There's lots of different places that you can live. Pros are the Dubai Mall, and of course what comes with that is that there's lots of different food and beverage outlets, retail outlets, and when you come out of your apartment, there's many different walks that you can do. You can walk down by the Dubai Canal, you can walk down around Burj Park, by the fountains, loads of different things that you can do around that area. You also have the boulevard. Moving on to the cons, while talking about the boulevard, at night it can get extremely loud with people just kind of ripping down the roads, and yeah, it's not something that can be kind of changed. Along with that, downtown has lots of different building work going on at the moment, so of course you could have those problems too. Along with cons at the same time, personally when living in downtown, I found that this is a really strange one, I always had a bit of a headache because you're kind of surrounded by a concrete jungle. It can be quite stressful. You're kind of a bit claustrophobic when compared to areas like the Palm, where it's perhaps a bit more open. That's a personal con for me. But one of the pros on the flip side of that is because the downtown is such a central area, you can get straight onto the metro to a range of different areas, but also for driving, it's really quite easy to get to many different areas. For me, going to work down in an area called Nad Al Sheba, it was nice and quick, 15 minutes. To get down to the Marina, it's around 15-20. And again, pretty much anywhere from downtown, nice and central, location is fantastic. Of course, the con, because it's downtown and a popular area, is the expense. This is a little bit of an advert. If you are going through the process of moving to Dubai and you are interested in knowing all the different things that you need to do both before and after you get to Dubai, or just UAE in general, make sure you go and check out this guide, which is available on my website, teachtraveltriumph.com. It's full of all sorts of different information. I've used it and reused it again and again when I've been moving different apartments. Thousands of teachers have found it useful through the process of moving out. You don't have to be a teacher to use this guide. It will help you gain a better insight into what it's like out here and all the different steps you need to take. Next area that is extremely popular is Dubai Marina. Dubai Marina is a fantastic area to live for the simple reason of views. I find that the views in Dubai Marina are absolutely beautiful. There is nothing more beautiful for me than looking out to that marina, seeing the boats, seeing the water. I find it really relaxing and it gives you a break from perhaps the stressful life of being a resident here. On top of that, you've got some great food places when you come down onto the lower level. Again, being down in the marina, it is a wonderful area to walk around. You've got some really good walks from there around. You could go down to JBR and those sorts of areas too. Cons. Someone once said to me, when you live in Dubai Marina, you have two options for walks. You can either come out and go left, or you can come out and go right. And that is completely true. Of course, you can't walk across the water, you can walk across the bridges, but in general, you're kind of doing loops, whereas in downtown, you can kind of walk a bit more sporadically. Cons, in addition to that, living in Dubai Marina, the traffic can be absolutely crazy, to be completely honest with you. It's a bit of a shame because I think it would be a lot more popular. Because it's popular with tourists, it can be expensive. Of course, the JBR area, Dubai Marina area are really popular with tourists, and as a result, the fees go up. So now we move on to perhaps some of the cheaper areas. We're going to start off with number 4 on the list, and that is Business Bay. Now, Business Bay is a bit of a cheat code, if I'm completely honest with you. You get the same pros as what it would be to live in downtown. You are a little bit further away from downtown, Dubai Mall, Burj Khalifa, those types of places, but as a result, the accommodation is going to be cheaper. On top of that, you're closer to the Dubai Canal, so you can walk around that. Again, a bit of a con because it's, again, you can kind of go left or right, but you have cheaper accommodations because you're not as close to Dubai Mall, Burj Khalifa, those sorts of places. On top of that, Business Bay is a little bit quieter, not much quieter, and you will still have building works going on around those areas, so be cautious about that, but it can be a little bit quieter, and as a result of that, yeah, cheaper too. Cons from that then is traffic again, depending on where you're entering. Traffic for Business Bay can be quite bad. Sometimes worse than downtown, depending on where you're living. And then on top of that, if you're living on the other side of the canal too, personally, I think there's not as many retail outlets and food and beverage places too. So that's totally worth noting because that's important. Finally, on the singles and couples area, you've got JVC is apparently a really popular area. I think that this is a popular area because of the location. Although it's further out from many of the tourist places, JVC is still a great central location to get to wherever you need to be, whether that's work, many different things to do. JVC in terms of traffic, I think is generally okay. Noise, I think is generally okay too, and there's some smaller parks. You kind of get some of the perks of living in perhaps Business Bay, but without some of the views. The main pro is location and of course the cost because you're much further out. Lots of different building works going on there too. Of course that could be a con due to the loud noises and all those sorts of things. But yeah, Circle Mall is the main mall which is in JVC. Of course, different food and beverage places. There are some hotels there too, so there's some different food and beverage places there. But in the JVC area, there's not really as much to do. The walks aren't going to be as nice. But if you're looking for a cheap place to live in, there's your answer. From there, we move on to the most popular areas for families. The Palm, of course, was on the list, but in my personal opinion, it is ridiculously expensive for villas. Unless you're some sort of oil mogul, for me as a teacher, if I was living in a family, that would exceed any accommodation allowance that I would be given. However, on the list, I find it quite interesting. There was Arabian Ranches 1, 2, and 3. I have been to Arabian Ranches. As a person who doesn't have a family, I'm not too sure on what it's like as a family. I believe it's because it's so popular, it is a great community feel. Most of them are on golf courses, and as a result, there's some great places to eat. Of course, there are less places to eat, but Arabian Ranches has that real community feeling too. I think con is that it's a little bit further away, can be a challenge to kind of drive into and drive out of, is one of the things that I have heard, but for the most part it is a popular area. Again, in a future video I can talk about some of the more popular family areas and single people areas that are a little bit cheaper too. If you want to see that video, make sure you comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Until then, I'm out.